Hello and welcome to another episode of the SENDhelp podcast. And I've got a returning guest today. We've got Sam.
Hello.
Last time brought up some really good conversations. They're still going on in the comment sections about teachers and their SEN issues, and quite a good perspective on it. I think quite a
Yeah.
unique perspective. And I think we'll just do more of that today. Really, I think since
Yeah.
we last spoke, there is a lot that's changed in the sense of I feel like people are a lot more open about speaking about it now. And we were just talking just before this about I've got a lot of teachers now coming in my comments saying, "Yeah, we understand now." Where before, where your podcast come out, especially at the beginning with the comments, it was very
Mm.
harsh, and then it's kind of leveled out as it's gone on, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
so
people now actually starting to realise and starting to understand that their practice isn't always the best when it comes to SEN. So now they're starting to actually realise that they do need to change the way that the way that they adapt their classrooms.
yeah. I think it's the number, isn't it? The sheer volume of when you look at how many parents are in the comment section, and you realise that it's not like a niche; it's just everywhere.
It is, yeah. It's I think with SEN becoming more prominent, and I think with lots of people now having more of a diagnosis, and it's starting to open up more conversations with teachers, with parents, with other people, grandparents even. And I think it's really good for our children who, struggle in school to now actually start to realise that there are issues and things do need to change.
Yeah, I think that's powerful, isn't it? I also what I've noticed as well is it's almost like they're stuck. As you said, you mentioned this before, isn't it? Stuck between a rock and a hard place with when it
Yeah,
comes to the teachers. So you do get the teachers that are like, yeah, we know, but it's not that they can't change it in a sense. And that's
yeah,
still going on, isn't it?
yeah. It's really difficult with everything that's come out with the Send white paper as well. And, the government are trying to change loads of different things, but it doesn't always work. What they need to do is they need to start at the very basics. So they need to start looking at the children, see what the difference is, how they can adapt their lessons. And I mean, for teachers, it is so difficult because there are so many different things you have to do. It's almost like a tick box exercise. And especially with the amount of SEND children and different needs in a classroom, it is so, so, so difficult. So I do understand that teachers are like, I can't do this. I've got no more time for it. But it's almost like you need to look at the child and see what their special interests are. I mean, my son, so when he was in his infant school, his special interests at the time were like trains and cars. So they adapted worksheets and they put worksheets into he had maths with trains, how many carriages or whatever. And
Right.
it's just something so simple that allows the child to feel included in part of the education.
Yeah, it does. And no matter how many times you say it, it does always come to like such a simple
Yeah,
inclusion instead of it being a massive overhaul, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
I mean, it has to be a massive overhaul in the sense of they need to be less rigid of what the tick boxes mean, in the sense of
yes,
how powerful that tick box is.
yeah,
Because I think that's also the issue as well, isn't it? That as much as you try to help, you've also got your own job role, and your job role doesn't line up to helping kids necessarily with SEN needs in a
yeah,
classroom where you got other kids.
yeah. No, 100%. It's it's really difficult when you've got someone like so my son, so he's autistic and ADHD,
Mm.
and he bounces off the walls, or he'll hyper focus. So you've got someone like that, and then you've got someone who is autistic, who doesn't really like to talk. You've got someone who's selective mutism, and you've got someone who's dyslexic, someone who's dyspraxic with autism. There's so many different needs, so many different conditions, but it just takes one small, simple thing to include one person, and their education will be so much better than what it was before. And that
Mm.
is, it can be something so simple like a worksheet, something so simple as going over, checking in with them, making sure that, do you understand that? Do you need any more help? Is there anything I can do for you? Giving them a buddy to even say, like, can you help them with this? Once you finish your work, can you go around and help? I mean, my son loves a job. Give him a job. He'll go around and help everybody. It's something so simple to be included for everybody. And it's not even just the neurodiverse children, it's normal children as well. Get them all involved.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think as well, I think as well as another thing to think, we miss trauma as well, because that's another thing that you don't necessarily know that's going on. So if you
Yeah,
treated every kid that like they've got something going on, you'd get the right result instead of
yeah,
assuming that everyone's okay and then when they're not okay, kind of being like, "Oh, I don't really know what to do here." But if you
Yeah.
already had the practice in place, then it would kind of cover a lot of this already, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would. It would make it so simple, so easy just to do one little thing and then everyone is okay and everyone's on the same page.
So with that being said, do you think how long is it going to be before we get head teachers another up on that page? Because I said the teachers are started to come out. It started to split within the teachers. The teachers are saying we know, and it's very heavily. It's another thing I know. It seems to be when you talk to these teachers that are in the comments, they have a kid that's neurodiverse themselves.
Yeah.
So that's where the understanding comes from, and it's that's also almost a shame as well because they haven't almost recognised it themselves. They've kind of had to through their own life instead of. So it just means that there's still not enough awareness in the school to be able to make that decision or see that in the school setting. It has to be something personalised to you or something.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think where it needs to come from is our Senkos. So
Mm,
our Senkos are supposed to know, I would say everything, but it's not.
mm,
So they're supposed to know about these conditions and they're supposed to know how best to help a child. So Senkos need to do a lot more
mm.
in terms of training, in terms of a handover, because there's not always a handover between classes.
Yeah,
So if a child, so where I used to teach in secondary, it makes it a lot easier because we had a Senko we had a spreadsheet with all the children and their conditions and maybe likes and dislikes. But it would be a case of you would have to go and do the research on that. It's
mm,
not, if a Senko was to come up to me and say, look, Sam, we have this child who really, really, really struggles with certain things. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'll adapt. I'll do that. That's absolutely fine. So I think our Senkos, especially with transitions and handovers, need to do a lot more. And I also think it needs to come from parents. So
mm.
when my son moved from year 2 to year 3, so he went to a different school, I had a meeting with the Senko and his teacher, and I basically said, look, these are his needs, these are his likes and his dislikes. And they was like, we didn't know that because the school hadn't told us. And it's like, no, I
Yeah,
will tell you, I will give you all the information you need. And they took all of that on board and have done absolutely amazingly with him so far. So they've helped him
right.
settle and everything. But it took me to do that. The
Yeah.
Senko wouldn't have done that. The head teacher wouldn't have done that. So I think our Senkos, the transitions, the handovers need to be more, especially from teacher to teacher in primary school. So if they're going from year 3 to year 4 or whatever, I think a handover is definitely needed. Listen to parents a lot more because we know our children don't gaslight us.
Yeah.
We are not making things up.
Mm,
We see that our children every day and deal with them every day. And just be a bit more, I think, for head teachers. I know they've got so much going on. I know they have to do loads of training. I know they have to worry about all the safeguarding things and the budgets and everything else. But you are leading a school. If you do not understand your children in your
mm.
school, then you are the issue,
But
nothing
do they
else.
need to, do you think, in the role that the head teacher is now? Because there is very, like it's a different kind of role. It's like business, isn't it? So do you think that's half the problem as well, that they're not involved with the kids as much?
They're
Because it
not
is about
involved.
edges, it is about training and making sure things look good on paper than it is actually
Yeah.
doing any physical work with the children.
Yeah. Smaller schools, so primary schools,
Mm.
the head teachers are more involved.
Yeah,
Secondary schools, not so much at all because they are, if you've got 1,000 kids in the
well, you can
school,
imagine.
it's like you've got all of this to worry about,
Mm.
but your children are like, you know, my old head teacher at my previous school, he was basically in charge of doing SLT detention, so like 2-hour detentions on a Friday or something. And he would be the one to sit in those 2-hour detentions with the kids. But that was pretty much it. He'd never taught, he never did anything, he didn't do anything.
I
When he
see.
was deputy head, he used to teach maybe 1 or 2 lessons a week, but he was so far removed from the classroom and the situation that if you was to to him with a question, he wouldn't actually know. He wouldn't understand what was happening. So our head teachers definitely need to do, especially in secondary, need to do a lot more,
I
I
think
think.
if that's a good point that you just made about the detentions as well, because that is a gold mine. If you're going to keep making our kids go through detentions, at least do
Yeah.
something in the detentions that's going to benefit the kids.
Yes.
Because it seems to me that that is a gold mine, that if you've got a kid in there 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or whatever, and they've probably got SEND needs if they're in detention all the time, why are you not working with them or building a relationship or building that trust? Why is it still punitive in the sense of punishment that you can't talk to them, that they have to do lines, that they have to, that's a perfect golden opportunity away from the classroom, away from getting marked, that you could just literally say to the kid, right, what's going on? Have a little conversation, see why are you not questioning this kid being in the same chair every day for
Yeah.
like 2 terms straight? And you're just
Yes.
accepting that.
Yeah. But that is because they haven't got the time.
Mm.
Like you say, you're sitting in a 2-hour detention and yeah, you got loads of time, but actually, no, they haven't because they're doing other things that they're supposed to be doing, dealing with queries or whatever it is that they do. And it's like they haven't got the time to actually sit and have a conversation with the child and find out what is going on.
But
That
and
would be
it's like,
if it was me doing it, that would
yeah,
be the first thing I'd want to do.
because then it just defeats the object. So then if they're too busy to talk to the kids, then why give the detentions?
I know.
So it's just
Detentions don't
you're
work.
still so, and it's silly, isn't it? Because you're so caught up on that's the right way. It doesn't actually make logical sense now,
No,
and you're still doing it
no.
to that extreme. Again, touching on that again, I think the issue with that is fairness, isn't it? I think that they just struggle to give exceptions or to be seen to be giving exceptions to certain children over others, which I can imagine in a primary school might not be picked up, but at secondary school, kids are going to notice.
Yes,
And I
a
think that's also
100%.
something I've never kind of spoke about publicly, but I imagine that's a big issue
It
about
is.
if you do let these kids off detention and they do let them have this leeway.
Yeah. It's really difficult when you've got the same children in detentions for breaking school rules. So it could be, constant lateness
Mm,
or constant uniform not correct. I would want to query why that's happening.
mm.
And then I would look back at other things. So is there an issue at home? Is there an issue, is there a neurodiversity need? But it doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't. And SEND children will find themselves in detentions more often than not for doing nothing,
See,
essentially.
this is that's the problem, isn't it? Because as much as you're trying to make it fair and they don't stand out, what you're actually doing is penalising them more than the other children because they're the ones that are going to get caught up with these little uniform policies, especially if that's very strict or something like lateness or being late to a class or
Mm.
losing equipment. If they're very heavily in your school, Senkers are going to be at the forefront of them
Yeah.
detentions and the penalised. So it doesn't. So by not my making them stand out, you're actually making them suffer a lot more.
Yeah, you are. You are. You're making them worse. And there was a child, my previous school, he was always in detention for, not doing the right things, not following instructions. And if he would so we had a hour and a half detention on a Wednesday and then a 2-hour head teacher detention on a Friday. And he would always be Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, Friday. And at one point, the kids were like, "Why are you in detention so much?" And he's like, I don't know. I don't know. I just keep doing things wrong and I can't." And
Oh,
this kid was like year 9. It's like, I don't know. I can't seem to do anything right. And they always seem to pick on me. And that is it. They
that's
always think that
yeah.
teachers pick on them. And it's like, well, actually,
Well,
we're
it is
only
though, isn't it? It's
following
hard not to see it
policy.
like that. Because I'm looking back at my school experience, and I'm thinking there was definitely teachers, but then if they're just going by the book, it's not necessary. But an ADHD kid that's already like 2 years behind his peers emotionally is going to think that again, why am I always here? Like,
Yeah.
and what I couldn't get my head around was a lot of kids in my school. There was some that was so much worse than me, but they never got caught. And it took me into my adult life to realise why they didn't get caught. Because again, you're not as loud, you're not this, they've got their emotional intelligence when to turn it off. You kind of follow. So the time you catch up, everyone's aware of what's going on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's so many things that it used to annoy me so much. And I used to then think, I'm always getting in trouble. They're not looking at anyone else. It's always me. It's always me. I didn't know that it was because of a behaviour policy or anything like that. But then saying that, back then, it wasn't as enforced as it is now.
No. It wasn't. It was, I mean, when I was in school, right? So I'm undiagnosed, right?
Mm.
Pretty sure I'm ADHD, possibly autistic too. And my school reports were always really chatty, daydreaming, not concentrating. And it's like, yeah, I know. Never do a homework on time.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not going to do my
Mm.
homework. You're going to tell me to do something. I'm not going to do it.
Mm.
And I always found that I would get away with lots and lots and lots of different things. And it would be really easy to do that. But there was one boy in my school who was diagnosed ADHD, and he was probably the only one that was diagnosed. And he was so loud, so irritating to other
Mm.
people. And he would really annoy all the teachers just with like flicking pens and stuff. And it's like, you're always going to get caught because you
Mm.
are the one that stands out the most. And it's
Mm.
the same that happens now, right? Is that those ones that stand out, those ones that are annoying, loud, will always get caught. The ones that are quiet and daydreaming, that are not going to hand the homework in on time constantly,
Yeah.
but will always get away with it. They're all the undiagnosed kids that will
Mm.
just go under the radar, but the loud ones will always get caught.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Why do you think that they're more? So when you lose, I feel like they've lost a little bit of control. So when you go through back through history, they had a lot more control in the sense of, and this is where it scares me of some of the teachers' mentalities now. So if you go back further, it's they had obviously they could hit kids way back, and then it just got they could strict, they could do all these things, and that's been taken away. And it seems
Yeah.
like in retaliation, these policies have now been enforced to a high degree to kind of reinforce back control. But even that
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be working.
No, it's not working. It's
So
not working. And it
what
never will.
yeah, because it's almost like a last ditch effort. I see it as just remaining as the predominant. Because a lot of what I'm seeing with a lot of teachers is that old mindset, and it just seems that they're upset that they don't have that overall say. That when they say something, no one questions it, and that's
Yes.
worrying in 2026 because we know what happens and we know all the bad practices that go on. And if you're saying to a kid not to say anything or just to tolerate it, that's a scary practice. But they're obsessed, and is that why? Because they feel like kids just do what they want now.
Yeah, you've got a really hard line at the moment. So the
Yeah.
hard line is you've got older teachers who have been in the profession for a really long time, who don't believe in neurodiversity,
Mm.
and possibly older head teachers that
Mm.
don't believe in neurodiversity. So they are trying to put their foot down
Mm.
with lots and lots and lots of different things. Then you've got the younger teachers that are coming through that have had some training about neurodiversity, and they're all like, they're all thinking, well, this could be this, and,
Mm.
we're going to try and do this for the children. But because you've got the older ones that are stamping the authority down, they don't like it when younger teachers actually say, well, you could do this differently, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you're reverting back in some ways because the older ones want to have their authority um, above everything else.
And I take it
So,
they'll be the ones that are there for like they've been there for 10, 15 years. So the new
yes.
ones coming in don't really stand a chance, do they?
No.
Because yeah,
And the problem is, you've got so many teachers that are leaving the profession now, and they're mainly younger ones.
yeah.
So the older ones are still in the profession.
So
And
that's why we're getting this opinion now very strongly on social media.
yes, because it's like a vicious cycle. It's
Mm,
never going to change.
yeah. Because you can't get so if you're getting the young ones getting kind of very lucky to stay on unless they conform and they're pushing back out, you're just reinforcing that ethos. And that's why I was annoyed about the podcast that I keep saying, because you're saying it so publicly now that you're only attracting people like that on the outside. So people that think that, yeah, that's the right way are going to go follow you into a profession thinking that that's what they need to do. You're not getting the care, loving people that want to go there for neurodiverse. You're stamping that out by saying that's not how we manage schools. So you're getting the people,
Yeah.
again, it's just a circle of just now getting the new inductees straight in there thinking, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I think an elephant in the room about it all as well. It is something I've danced around. I've said it a few times, but there's a misogynistic bit to the head teachers.
Mhm.
And I've found this out. I mean, the way I see it, there's problems across the board, but it seems like the younger you go, it's more about young age. So it'd be like younger girls in nursery, they're not taking the job seriously, not really aware, still going with their mates, unprofessional a bit. But when you get to like the secondary schools and it gets to the head things, it seems like a really right wing misogynistic thought process.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem to be anything other than that. You kind of lose all of the women in that cycle. I don't see any of them. That's what made me notice, because it's always the guys in the comments saying it's perfect. I can't think of one video I've seen when a woman has stand up and said that, yeah, kids should go back to their old or anything like that. I'm not saying they don't have the opinion. I'm not saying they don't jump up in the comments, because they do, but it seems to be led to the charge by this very specific group of men that seems
Yes.
to want to have this ideology of what schools should be like.
Yeah, it's the the misogynistic views. Yeah, it's it's so hard because like, you see it, and you see it a lot, and you see it all the time, and, as teachers, we were told, or I've been previously told that any misogynistic views, we have to stamp on it, and we have to say that we cannot say that. We're not allowed to say that. We have to have a very open mind, very open view of the world, and I get it, but why are the men not doing the same?
Yeah.
Male teachers not doing the same? Um, so women are obviously getting married, having babies, then realizing that having children and working in the profession the way that it is not right. So women will leave, and then you're left with the men.
Yeah, because it's very apparent. It doesn't look like, it doesn't sound like, I wouldn't say that any of them had children. They don't come across as very family orientated people, and they don't mention their own children in retaliation to what they're saying about the practice of school, because I'm sure
Yeah,
they wouldn't be expecting their child just to shut up. And if they are, that's outdated. But I don't think they would be if they are if they are fathers and that. I wouldn't expect them to be like that kid, just that fear mongering of that fear means respect. That
yeah.
method.
But it also depends on how they were parented.
Yes, I suppose. Yeah.
Because if like my dad, bless him, he's, very funny. Um, he's in his 60s and will run, 10Ks very often. He runs every day and stuff. But if I was to go and say to him, look, Dad, I've got this issue, he would say to me, go and sort it out yourself.
Mm.
And it's like, well, actually, I'm coming to you because I don't know how to do these things. Like, I know how to do my tires, and I know how to do all the stuff to do with my car, but I can't sort my alarm out on my house. So I have to get my dad to do it. And he's like, well, yeah, well, just put the code in and you can do it. And it's like, no, I
Mm.
can't do that type of thing. But that's how my dad was parented. He was told
Yeah.
that he had to figure it out himself.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a good
if you
point,
have
actually.
if you have parents like that are or teachers in the comments that are making misogynistic views, it's how are they parented? Are they parented the same? Do they, if they do have children, do they parent their children the same?
I think as well, sometimes it might be just they went through awful school as well. So they went through
Yeah.
school a certain type of way, and they think that's, and because they went through it like that, it's almost like, well, so should you. Why did I only have to go through that if you don't have to go through that? That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing I see as well, because they don't seem to like, they don't, I don't know. They got, it's very hard because there obviously is, they're not one type of teacher, they're not one type of comment section, like, but it is very leaning towards the same sort of thing, isn't it? About the control of the children and losing control of children.
Yeah.
And it just, when again, it just doesn't come across the same when it comes across with women. It doesn't. The views don't, and it stops very. There's a limit where it stops. Like, I don't see. There's comments where I think that women kind of stop and rein it in, where men will just go out and say it, and also attack women on the platform for saying it. Like, I've
Mm,
had very many people just rip girls in the comments, and I know that it doesn't happen all the time because my channel's bigger than SENDhelp channel, and I don't get it on mine.
yeah.
Well, I say similar things more direct, and I don't get it. I go in the comment section and send help, and you get loads of it. And it's almost like that kind of. It's just a weird way. It's almost like it's not just a school SEN issue. It's like a society issue. It's like a
It is.
historic issue. It's like everything in one, isn't it? Like, there's no one
Yeah.
piece that you could just take out and it be fixed, because it just leads another side. Like,
Yeah. I think another thing as well to think about is like women actually having a voice and being able to have a voice and being able to be understood. And some men don't like that.
no. I think because a lot of parents get done, especially because it's normally the woman that goes in there. I think that doesn't help either, because they're not dealing with men in a sense. I said that the narrative would change a lot. I think a lot if guys, you don't even need. I know, I understand the dynamics normally. If you're in a household you're together, the guy normally works. He can't be there. He can't. Someone has to be out there. So someone has to do that job. Obviously, that's just the way it works. But you don't have to know exactly what you're doing to turn up. Just your presence is enough.
Yes.
Isn't it? So don't think you have to know everything that's going on. You can still let her speak. Just you turning up is enough, because it will stop them from their just overbearing parent. Them patronising comments I hear all the time that are said that I can't believe are said to parents. Like,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, bless him, my husband works. So he does 9 till 5:30. I go to work at about 4:30. So my mum comes down and looks after the kids, and I'm only there for a couple of hours doing my job, and then I come back. So my mum cooks the dinner, and then my husband comes down from work, and he looks after the kids until I come back. And then I do the bath and the bed and everything else. But when it comes to appointments, my husband will always be there. Always.
Yeah, that's great.
And when the last appointment we went for ADHD medication. And it's really funny because whenever we go to an appointment, I will do all the talking and he will entertain my son. My son will sit there and just like whisper to him, not really listening to the person when she's asking questions or whatever, but he'll just, keep him occupied. And that is what a father should be. A father
Yeah,
should be there for their children regardless. So it's like, you know, whatever the society says at the moment is that women should be at home and men should be working. You have to work together as a team. You are in this as a team, even if the father's not at home, even if you're co-parenting, you still have to be there for your children regardless. You've brought them into the world. You stay
yeah.
there with them.
I think it's hard to get caught up in that, isn't it? I think, yeah, because you would naturally just think to go to that world. But when I think that's when it's just like a normal school issue, like a normal kid, I think that's acceptable. When we're talking about SEN issues, I think the misunderstanding is that this has taken up the mum's life. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't just like I'm taking an email and there's this appointment here. I've had to fight for 6 months in email after email after email after email to get here. I'm
Yes.
exhausted.
Yes.
So it's a lot more, isn't it, than just, it's just parents' evening or just there's a lot more to it. And I think that maybe gets lost in communication between
Yeah.
and that causes a lot of arguments in household, isn't it? Because it's almost like, you
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. It's like, well, you haven't told me anything that's going on. So how can I'm exhausted? I'm doing it every day. I don't want to keep going over it. And it's just like
Yeah.
that. It's hard, isn't it? But ultimately, I agree with what you're saying. I think just the kids needs to be there. You just be there for the
It
kid.
is it is all about
Mm.
and even if it's an appointment in school, appointment, medical appointment, whatever it is, both parents should be there.
Oh,
And if you have a strong, united front, schools take notice of that.
yeah.
If there's not a united front and, I've had issues where there's been, you know, parents are together, but they're not in a good place at all. And it's like, well, who do you go to? Do you go to speak to mum or do you
Yeah.
speak to dad? So it's really, if there
That's
is a
that kind of.
united front, everyone, it's okay. It's better. It's the way it should be.
I bet that's a hard one, isn't it? Like when you've got someone, especially like the younger years, and they've just split up, and then you're like, oh no. which one? Which one do I carry on talking to? Do you just double it up? Do you say nothing? Do you because you
Yeah.
get the wrong one and you're in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
God,
I've done that. I've literally sent duplicate emails. I've written an
yeah,
email out for the mum and then just changed it for the dad. But you send it to both because both are in the child's life, regardless if it's a happy relationship or not. Both need to be in the know.
that's on relationships. Actually, I haven't really talked about this before, but as I said, you've got a really good relationship, and it's something obviously I've not really spoken about in a sense of the success that you can have because obviously people say about the struggles, but what makes yours work so well?
Me and my husband don't talk.
Yeah.
Well, no. So in we've been together for 10 years and before we had children, it was a case of when we have kids, we know that we are going to be united front. We're going to be there for them regardless. When my youngest was born, um, he was absolutely he was lovely. He was brilliant. When my eldest was born, he had loads of complications. And it's like that first the first lot of complications, he had a hernia, which he had to have an
Mm.
operation at 6 months old, and it was awful. But those first few weeks, it was like, oh my God, we're in this together. We're having no sleep. We don't know what we're doing. Let's just pretend it's okay.
Mm.
And every day we used to wake up in the morning and say, well, we survived another night. He's still alive. But you
Mm.
have to have a joke with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we do everything together. I mean, he winds the children up something rotten and they wind him up and he starts shouting and they come to me and they're like, Mummy, Daddy's being horrible again. And it's like, it's okay. Don't worry. Come here. But you need to have one parent who's going to be I'm the soft parent. So
Yeah.
I will say, it's all right, don't worry. You can sit on your iPad for an extra 5 minutes. But he'll come in and he'll be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. And they'll go, but mummy told me to. And it's like, okay. But I say we don't talk. We don't
Mm.
really. By the time bedtime comes, I'm like, we're
Yeah,
both
life
falling
gets in the
asleep.
way, isn't
We're
it?
so
Yeah.
tired, aren't we?
Mm.
But we do have once a week where we just communicate and we just say, look, this was really good. This was really good. This didn't work. Let's change this. Let's try this. And so every week we are adapting what we're doing so that we make it work for the kids. And that is the most important thing. It is about our children. It's not about
Mm.
us. If we're having an argument, we don't do it in front of the children. We wait until they've gone to bed. Then we discuss it. Or I'll text him, I'm annoyed at you. And he'll read it and look at me and be like, yeah, okay, I get it. But we never do anything in front of our kids, so they don't see like that there's an issue, so that they know that they can come to either mummy or daddy and we can talk about it, and we're going to be
Yeah.
and everyone's going to be okay. And the other thing as well is we're so open and so honest with our children that, I had a conversation with my eldest when before he was diagnosed. We sort of said, look, mummy thinks there's something in your brain that is making you unhappy. And he was like, what is it? And then we spoke about ADHD and we spoke about autism. We are so open and honest with him that he now can come to us with anything. And both of us are on the same page and we will talk about it in exactly the same way.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, that's really good. It's nice to see as well, and it seems from my judgment is either one or two. There's people either that have gone through a horrific breakup and they're not together, they're not even speaking to each other, and one of them doesn't exist, or people that have been together and, as you just said, kind of grown together through the
Yeah.
journey, and they're like kind of inseparable, or being together. There's no middle ground. Like,
No, there's not.
and what you don't see very much is another thing of someone else being involved with SEN kids, and that's another thing that doesn't get spoken about enough. Like, so what I mean by that is when you have SEN kids and you're in a relationship and you split up and you have them SEN kids with you, no one really, especially depending on how bad the issues is, you don't really like having someone else on top of that, because it's another thing about, are they going to accept my kids? Oh my God, I've got to do this. And then you see that people go long periods of time without a relationship just on that narrative,
Yeah.
because it's hard. And then the longer that goes on for, the harder it is then for them to reintroduce it, isn't it? And it's almost like
Yeah.
if they can't be the biological person, it's so hard to get someone else in that's going to accept and be able to be wary of that, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't, I mean, like if me and my husband was to split up, we would still have a good relationship. Like we would co-parent for our children. If I was to introduce someone else, I would be really concerned because I would feel like, are they going to accept my
Mm.
children for their bonkers nuttiness? The fact that, you know, they don't sleep on their own. They have to have an
Mm.
adult with them, and both of them have to have an adult. So one sleeps with one sleeps with the
Yeah.
other. And it's like the scariness of that. Like, do you want to introduce that?
Yeah.
But as time goes on, as your children grow up, you learn to adapt a little bit more. And I think, like, I know we've seen in the app that there's a few people that have been like, well, how do we go about dating and how do we go
Mm.
about doing these things? You just have to trust your instincts. I think with women, we are so walls up, barriers up, and we're like, I'm not introducing anyone to my children because they
Yeah.
are mine. I will protect them. But we have to let our barriers down at some point. You know,
I see
I
that a lot. I think you're exactly right. I wouldn't want to say it, but yeah, that's exactly. I see that a lot. It's almost like I've got to protect my kids. I can't let anyone into this. I've got to do it all by myself. I've got to do all these emails. I can't tell everyone out. I ain't got time for myself. I ain't got time for a diagnosis to get out, let alone have I got time to go meet somebody that could go
yeah,
wrong, and then it could be this thing. And it's quite sad, really, isn't it? Because it's unspoken about, and them sort of people just kind of go years and years. But you're right. You need to get out there. And I think an easy way to think about it is not thinking about the end goal. And it's hard to do that when you've got SEND kids, because the end goal is very, it's not like a normal end goal. That could be make or break at the end, So you
yeah,
don't want to kind of hide that. But, just instead of, because I think if you're thinking about the end goal, you're never going to get out there. If you're thinking about, oh, just go out for a little bit fun, have babysitter, and then see how it goes, I think that's a lot easier, isn't it?
yeah. It's having, especially for women on their own, and they don't have a village, right? Us ladies like to talk about having villages. So people that will be around us to look after our children if we need to.
Mm.
If you don't have a village of people, it is so hard to trust anyone with your children to get out and babysit, right? You can't. I have a village and I would prefer not to go out. I would prefer to stay in with with my children, knowing that they are safe and that I am around. I find it really hard to let go. I
Mm.
find it really like, even though I've got a husband and
Mhm.
I have my mum who lives 5 minutes up the road and my dad who lives 5 minutes up the road, and my brother is 10 minutes away, I find it really hard to say, come and look after the kids. I'm going to go out for dinner. I can't do that.
Do you feel
So
guilty?
I do feel really guilty. And that is the problem that us ladies have. The guilt is so much. It's like, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to do anything. I can't remember the last time actually, I do. I remember the last time I went out was last January.
Mm.
So like a full on year ago. And I went and stayed with my best friend who lives in Plymouth for a night. It was amazing because I had a 3-hour train journey with no noise and no one calling mummy, mummy, mummy. And it was beautiful. But I felt so guilty that I was away. And that is the problem. You feel so guilty for for enjoying yourself. Like my kids, like Toby, my youngest is at nursery. Ted, my eldest, is at school. I'm here sitting here doing this. I feel really guilty because I feel like I should be doing something. I should
Yeah.
be doing,
Yeah.
I went and collected Ted's medication this morning and it's like, I know I've got to do that because, that's what I need to do. I've got an email to send and it's like, actually, no, I'm not going to send it right now because I'm doing this. I'm doing
Yeah.
something for me. But you still feel really guilty by not doing what you're
It's because
supposed to do.
I saw that I've done it because I've kind of clocked that. And obviously, we're doing like a little trial. I don't think everyone's know, but we'll let them know now. But we're doing like a little trial in this because I think this could get bigger in the sense of because we've kind of the meet up that we're doing like next week. But I think it's really important. But I was so shocked even when I've done a video about it. It's like, why don't we all do this? And most people are on board, but then you get a few people that what about the kids? And you're like, if you've got you don't even know the date yet. Like, I haven't even given you a date, a location, a time, or anything, and you're
Yeah,
already what happens to the kids. And it's like,
yeah,
it's scary. It's so sad to see because some people might, again, not have the village and just not have anyone to have the kids. But then also,
yeah,
I think more of the chance is, well, no one's going to look after my kids.
yeah,
Even if they have got options, or even, and as you said, that babysitter option, no one trusts the babysitter. And if they
no,
do and they get one, they'll stick to my finger. And it's just one of them things, isn't it? Like, you're not going
yeah.
to trust a random person in if you don't even let your family in.
No, exactly. Exactly. And like when you become a mum, right? I don't know what it's like, obviously, when you become a
Mm.
dad, but when you become a mum, you have this bond. And it's almost like I never really had this with my mum. My mum's a little bit, how do I describe her? How do I describe her? She's sort of like one of these people that has a really big wall and
Yeah.
you can't get into her. Like, I'd never give her a cuddle because she wouldn't allow it. She doesn't like it. I'd never, give her a kiss on the cheek or something. Even when it's her birthday, it's like, oh, I hand you a card and say happy birthday from a distance because she doesn't like it. But when it comes to my kids, I have this. And I call it an invisible line. I almost feel like I've got a bit of string from here that's attached to my children, regardless wherever they are, whatever they're doing. And the invisible string will go wherever it needs to. So I feel very protective of them.
Yeah.
And when you become a mum, your whole world changes,
Yeah.
And I'd hope it'd be the same when you become a dad, that
Mhm.
you have that same feeling that you'd want to protect your children no matter what. Um, Letting that go, cutting that invisible string, so
Yeah.
hard to do. No one wants to do it. No one wants to be the first one to say, I'll just cut that and then you can go off. And like, even going off on play dates, it's like, no, my kids are not going off on play dates. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, my eldest has severe anxiety, so I know that he doesn't want to do that. But my youngest is a little bit like, yeah, can I go here? Can I go and do that? And it's like, no, no,
Mm.
you can't do that. You're still only little. You can't do that yet. But
I
it's that feeling, isn't it? That of
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I've got to let them go at some point.
I always thought it was like a very male, a woman thing, but I think when I've had it with Calvin, I'm starting to get it now. And it's
Yeah.
more into this year that when he's going places and something's happening, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to let him go. Why didn't you just stay here? Why didn't you just come back? And I've noticed that like I've become the complete opposite to what I thought I'd become. Like he'll text me any little bit of grievance, so I'm just come get you. I'll come get you if you want. And you're like,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Like what has happened to me? But it's that feeling, isn't it? Of like, I think you're just used to it every day seeing them, isn't it? And it's hard to, when you're putting in the groundwork every day as well, and not getting that other work life, like 9 to 5, where you've got other work colleagues and all of that, and you're literally just living in it. You do start to get that, don't you? And especially with the SEN, and it's protective because then you start seeing how vulnerable they are. And I'm just about to go into year 7. I'm going to pieces. I'm not in year 9. I'm dying, but but I still think again, yeah. But as much as I do think there is a difference between male and female in that sense, because I think the way that it's easier for a man to just kind of cut that string of like, no, we've got to do it and take that
Mm.
next step of doing it, like, because you know it's kind of healthy for a woman. I know, but it's a bit more because I can see it. I want to do it myself, but inside of me, I'm like, no, don't do that. You don't do that. Let
Yeah.
him. But I think that it'd be easier to me again. Actually, again, that might be sex for the kid because if I talk about my daughter, I see that it's a stronger bond in the sense of because it's more, yeah, because she's vulnerable in the sense of being female. So, like, yeah, I suppose it is. It's hard, isn't it? And that's just without any diagnosis or anything going into play
Yes.
with it, isn't it? Just the fact that one of them's a different sex is frightening.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's hard. What I think we need to change that. I think that's something we can change. Is but do you know? Because I see this anxiety that they get from not going out and stuff bleeds into like you see what we're doing as well as a nice little times what we're doing with the app with the kids in the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Seems like as well, because they've got so much trauma, it took us a while to get people in even on in front of the camera because I think like the anxiety of even having a kid, you don't, as you touched on about going to play dates, goes into even what we're creating. They're like, yeah, but what if they, and it's like every single one of us have got a diagnosis and our kids have, and we're all in the same thing, but every single parent still excuses herself and says sorry and it's really funny to see in such a secluded, like inclusive unit that people still have them in brains like society cues, like, oh, I'm sorry about him, or they're kicking off, or they're not engaged for 2 minutes, so we have to leave. And I'm like, it's hard that we're able to work with the parents now to kind of get, no, this is why we're doing this. Is kind of like,
Yeah. It's really funny. You sit and watch so someone could say something like butt in and it's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry that they do that." And it's like, "Don't
mm,
apologize. Like leave them. Let
yeah,
them be. They are happy." But yeah, it's and again, it's having that confidence as a parent to actually give the child the reins and let them do
mm,
something different, from what they're
yeah,
used to doing.
yeah.
It's funny.
It's hard, isn't it? It is, and I think on that note, though, what we have created inside the app and what you have been doing has been amazing. And I think the ones when you do get past that threshold and get the kids there, it works, doesn't it? Having that
It
sense
does.
of community that's not on an Xbox thing, that's not about Roblox or anything like that. That's just an actual community. Like, "Oh, I've seen this person before," and then the more they're seeing each other, they recognise each names. They're getting, and it might start rocky with the butting in and stuff like that, but they work each other out like they would in class. You know, they
Yeah,
work the dynamics out. People take turns. Some actual leaders and natural people that are quieter. It works itself out eventually, and it's great to
it
see them even
does.
looking forward to doing something.
Yeah. So, like what we're creating at the moment is, obviously a drama teacher. So I'm doing some drama games with the kids, and it's
Mm,
just a case of something really silly. It could be like pick an animal and act like that animal. And each one will take turns and the others are guessing at it. And it is brilliant because it gives them that chance to actually be a little bit more free.
mm,
They're not in a school, so they don't have to sit behind a desk. They don't have to do something. And it is something different for them. And it gives them the confidence. And at the end of last week's session, it was like, oh, bye, see you later. And they all said each other's names and they all like, waving to
oh,
each other. It was so sweet, so lovely. And they're getting to know other people that are like them and they
yeah.
don't feel so alone.
It's just it's incredible because even that it's like they don't know about getting told off, isn't it? Like they always
Yeah.
think they're going to get told off, and the fact that when they realise that we could kind of say and do what we want in this place, well, within reason,
Yeah.
obviously, but like we haven't even had that threshold pressed yet, have we? Like, but it's mad to see the sociology of it, isn't it? Like see them all in a group and then getting to know each other. Because I worry about the kids that have been out of school for a long time, and that's kind of what it started as, what to target the kids that have been sitting while the mums and dads have been fighting the schools and the kids has not really had anything to do. And I thought it'd be a lot harder to get people in front of the camera to engage with each other It's not.
Mm,
It's getting in
it's
front of the
not.
camera. It is,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, get in front of the
Mm,
camera, they're away. The kids do what kids
yeah.
do best.
Yeah. There's no societal pressures for
No.
them. They're not, 30 in a class battling, or 32 or 36 in some cases. They're not battling for one person's attention. It is, there's 4, 5, 6 in a small little group, and they're able to share and take turns and listen, and and if they shout out and they get something wrong, I'm not going to tell them off. There's
No.
like they don't need that. They're not in a school environment. It's something different. It's something that gives them the confidence to actually, what I mean, last session I did about tone of voice and how people speak to each other. And, I did an example of, like, when someone's angry, they'll pull this face and
Oh,
they might shout and change their tone of voice. And I said, has anyone seen that in schools? Like, has any teacher done that to you? And they sort of went, well, and it's like, it's okay. You're not going to get told off. You can say
yeah.
if you've seen it. And they're like, okay, yeah, I have seen it. And it's like, you are allowed to do that. You're allowed to be open. You're allowed to be honest. If you've seen something, then you can tell everybody about it and it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so hard, because parents don't want to let their children go in that respect. The
Yeah.
invisible
Yeah.
string is still there. They don't want to let them go in that. But they can be free. They can be
It will, yeah. Because even I was like it with Calvin, I was like, I thought I was forcing him into it, and then he asked me like halfway through the week afterwards. So, "Oh, when's that on again?" And I was like, "What? He's interested in coming back." But,
oh,
I was at football this time, but the week before when he was going there, and again, it made me realise about my child. I would have said my kid would have been one of the most confident in that chat room. He wasn't. He was the
he
most
wasn't.
quietest. And what was surprising was that even like the 2 girls that was like trying to prompt him to do it, and instead of it being
Mm,
like adult led, it was led between them. They noticed it and was like, "Oh, come on, you can just do that kind of thing." And I was like, "Oh my God, like this." You can learn a lot from the way that our kids interact with each other, can't you? And I think
yeah,
that's really, really what we're seeing in this group, isn't it?
yeah.
Like,
It is
they do they're so
fascinating.
nice. They're so nice.
They are. They are. And it's really encouraging to see other children doing that, like encouraging other
Mm,
kids to stand up, to speak up, to use
mm,
their voice. Because, no matter how much we talk about school trauma, because let's face it, every neurodiverse child will have school trauma of some descript.
yeah,
It's not school. And it's not trauma. We're not trauma bonding. I'm
no,
actually giving, the children the chance to actually talk to other children and open up and be honest and say, go on, give it a try. Why don't you try and be this animal? Why don't you try and do it in this
yeah.
voice? It's so beautiful
I
that
would
they are encouraging each other.
We've got to, and I think what the next thing is, though, they're gonna have to the thing that we can't rob them of is a meet up, and that's the thing that I've been thinking of, that we
Yeah.
can grow these relationships, and it's like they're never gonna meet each other without us. So I'm thinking like how amazing it would be to like hire a campsite for like a whole day and just get all the parents to come. And again, because even if the parents are like, "Oh, my kid's behaviour," you've got your own little places you can take them away. You
Yeah.
hire some people to do games, you do like your drama thing. They can all meet each other. I'm hoping, like I said, the next 6 months we build up that kind of repertoire of children in the app and that, and then we'll be able to launch that, because I think they would love that.
Yeah.
And even in the group that we've got, what works well is you don't have to split it to age, and that's a massive, massive thing that's really effective, isn't it? Because you've got
Yeah.
varied ages, but necessarily the same group of kids that can interact with the same things, and they don't know what they don't even mind. Which you think, if I was in school, I would have had that. Oh yeah, but in year 10, and if I'm in year 11, you had that. They don't seem to care. No one even questioned that. Some of them, like one was really young in there. They don't really care. Like
They don't care.
no,
It's I've had it before. So when I've done like productions in schools, and it'll be the whole range from year 7, and if they have a sixth form up to year 13, right? So they're like 17, 18, and you've got like 11 and 12-year-olds. And it's almost a case of like the older ones are like, I don't want to be there babysitting the
Mm,
younger kids. And it's like, when did that happen? And why does that
yeah,
happen? But with this, it's like they don't care. They're encouraging the younger ones. Go on,
mm,
it's all right. You can do
yeah,
it. And it's so lovely. But they are all in it together.
yeah,
They all share something very similar, which
mhm,
is the fact that their brains are different.
yeah,
And it is accepted and they're not judged.
no,
And that is the key thing. You don't want a child to feel judged, but
No.
they do every day. They step out the house, they feel judged.
You see it in them, as I said, they say about the trauma, but we kind of see it in the way they act when they first come to it, thinking that they're going to have to sit down, be
Yeah,
still, and not overtrap, not get expression, not again say what's happening in school if they're seeing someone angry. All of these
yeah,
things are built into them from school, isn't it? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah, it
unlearning all
really
of
is.
that.
Yeah,
I think I said I think I've got that in the idea. I think the meet and greets we do with the parents are good as well, and I think softening the parents to that kind of method as well is okay. I think it's sad, isn't it? Because like everything we spoke about today is it's traumatic. Like
it is.
everything it is just so hard on the whole scale of anything SEN. And life's hard enough as it is, but with SEN on top, it just makes all of these problems so much worse and so much harder.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even saying about the camping trip, like you think that's easy, just but it's not going to be easy because you've
It's
got SEN kids you're thinking about, and then you've got the parents' anxieties, and there's so many things tied to what has to happen because you want to get a diagnosis and what the effects are. It's crazy. Just from getting a diagnosis can make a whole family implode, split up, the kid be out of school for a year and a half, then have mental health issues just because you've thought he had ADHD. You're like, what?
yeah, it's the fact that it's being spoken about more is
Mm,
lovely, but it's the other side of it. So it is the when you get a diagnosis, it is the how do parents work together? It is the, your child comes first. It is the no matter how exhausted you are as parents, you still have to get up and show up because your child will forget the next day that last night they were a bit of a pickle.
mm,
It is the and your brain as a parent is frazzled all day, every
mhm.
day. But you have to send parents. We are your child may have different needs than my child, but I'm still going to give you my, my thoughts, my opinions, and it may work for you, it may not. Send parents have to stick together,
Yeah.
and you can't as much as I'd love to say I've got a load of parents or friends that I know that have neurotypical children, I don't. All my friends have got neurodiverse
Mm.
children.
You gravitate towards everyone, isn't it? I don't think I speak to anyone that's got neurotypical. I can't think of the last time I spoke to someone, especially on Facebook. Definitely
No,
not.
I know. We are everywhere.
I
You can't hide us.
It's hard to say, and my theory is, as I said, we've already invaded, and when they catch up, we're actually more present, and we're not. But I always think, oh, it's my algorithm, it's what I do every day, so of course I'm going to see it all the time. But it's hard not to see that we're everywhere. We really are.
Yeah,
Everywhere. Like there's so many different types of people that are coming to, and it's just like your waiting game to wait for the next one to drop into our circle. So it's like, okay, we'll wait for it. Someone's eventually is going to get it, and you're going to come to us. And it's like, there
yeah,
you go, there's diagnosis. And it's like, oh yeah, Sen. And it's like you just every
yeah,
day just getting flocks and flocks of hundreds of thousands of people now realizing about Sen, which is
yeah,
a good thing because that's
yeah,
the transition, isn't it? Of like, oh, okay, because it is so about and so everywhere, you're going to get caught in it somewhere. You can't hide
yeah,
from it. You know,
yeah,
it's not like something like racism where you could just like literally not see another black person or Muslim person for like next 10 years. You're gonna have to see that as your granddaughter.
yeah,
You have to deal with it. You have to see
yeah,
it and
you
you
do.
have to accept it. Like,
Yeah. It's really funny. So when my son, when we was, so with him, we went for a pre-assessment. So we paid £600 for a pre-assessment and they gave him everything. All they said, he's autistic, ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, dysgraphia, sensory processing disorder. And we was like, my God, that's a
mm,
lot. And then we went for the diagnosis. Now, when I did this, I said to my mum and I was like, Mum, look, I really need this. I can't figure it out. I need to know what it is that I'm dealing with. And she was like, look, I'll pay for the assessment. I was like, okay, amazing. Thank you very much. So she paid for it. And then when it came back with everything, she was like, no, he's just a naughty kid. And it's like, it's not,
after all that.
he's not naughty. He's disabled. And my mum's like, he's not disabled. It's like, he's disabled. But as it's gone on, now he's got his ADHD diagnosis, his autism diagnosis, his dyspraxia diagnosis. He also has ADHD medication and melatonin. My mum's like, yeah, I can see it now. You
Yeah.
can see it now. What, now that we've got a piece of
Yeah.
paper to
Yeah.
say that he is
It's all in front of your
diagnosed?
face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got
How
it
you know
here.
there's a different child underneath it? If he takes a tablet, it doesn't have to be like he always has. And you're like, oh, hang
No,
on a minute. Yeah.
yeah.
Hang on, things change. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. But I think that's another big problem, isn't it? Like society, especially the older people, like what we were talking about with head teachers, the older people, they're like, no, we don't believe in it. They're just badly behaved. It's like they're not badly
Oh,
behaved. There is a reason for it. And this is what another thing with SEN parents, they always excuse the behaviour. It's like, oh, I'm really sorry, but my child is autistic, or I'm really sorry, my child
oh,
does this.
it drives me.
Don't excuse it. Like I
Mm.
went out the other week and there was a little child who must have been I know he was because his mum said was non-verbal, and he was absolutely breaking his heart, and he was kicking a car and he was trying to kick his mum and he was sobbing, all because mum was on the phone trying to organise a taxi. So I went over to her and I was like, is everything okay? And she was like, it's okay, don't worry, he's autistic. And I said, I've got an autistic son. We're okay. Do you need some help? And she was like, thank you. Like I've never been, no one's ever said, like, offered me help before. And it's like, why?
Yeah, because
Why
the
is
help you
no one?
want is like, do you want me to pin them down or do you want me to call the police? Or it's a
It was
misunderstanding, isn't it?
like literally, I just said to the little boy, would you like a tissue? And, I gave him a tissue, wiped his tears away. We counted to 10 and then he was happy.
Mm.
And it's like, how simple is that? And why can't other people do exactly the same thing? Why do they have to judge?
Yeah,
We said that, neurodiverse people feel judged as soon as they step out the house. Why do they have to feel judged? It's a societal thing.
yeah, it is, isn't it? Why don't you just, and it is, you do get that, and that we get that a lot even with the parents we speak to, isn't it? The apologies that
Yeah,
they say, and I absolutely hate it because it just shows you that it's not they're ashamed, they're proud of their kids, but they're ashamed that their kids viewed like that in society, and that makes
yeah,
them embarrassed secondhand. It's such an internal process, isn't it? Like, but it's
yeah,
almost like they feel like they're stuck in a corner, and they're already segregated from parents because no one's going to understand why the kid's acting like this, and they're not just giving them a clap on the ear.
yeah.
And it's almost like then you're instantly guilt, then you've got your back and you've got your back up and you've got this. Again, all it will take is someone having that understanding and saying, "Oh, it's okay." And just ignore, like
Yeah.
ignore it. And this is the thing: any behaviour, if you think they're being naughty or not, ignoring it is one of the most effective behaviours you could
It
do.
is.
Why are you even going to acknowledge the behaviour? Like you
I
just
know.
ignore the behaviour, get on with it, or calm down. Even when you're trying to challenge it, you speak calm. You don't rise to the behaviour, do you? Like, do you know what I mean? You don't go in there 100 miles per hour with the same behaviour. Like, no, my God, like.
Yeah, like if my son's kicking off, so before his medication, he used to kick off all the time. And I would always say to him, "It's okay. I'll
Mm.
come back when you're calm." And instantly he'd change. Sometimes if my husband's had a bad day at work and my son's kicking off, he'll go to him, "Now don't do that." And
Mm.
I say to him, "You're giving him the dopamine that he needs.
Ah,
Don't do
it's
that."
fire, isn't it? It's if you don't, it
Yeah,
took me years, and I still get caught up because you all have bad days, isn't it? And then you realise it's the fire. I've written that
yeah,
with him so much. You just don't say anything back. Okay, that's fine. All right, when you're ready. And then also, it's a very good tactic when you get it right because it gives them instant guilt. Because then they know
yes,
that they've overdone it. They're like, oh, there's nothing's coming back. When they react to the argument, you don't give it to them. They're like, oh, okay, I've been little bit naughty here. Maybe
yeah.
I shouldn't have shouted. Maybe I need to go say sorry. It's a reflection, isn't it? Like,
It is. It is. And it's quick. It's so quick when they
yeah,
do that. And if you have like your village that you trust and they're all on the same page and they do exactly the same thing, then there'll be no issues. But if you don't trust people, they don't know how to respond to neurodiverse people, which is exactly the same as teachers.
yeah.
They don't know how to respond to neurodiverse people. So they will fight, argue, shout back, whatever it is, raise their voice at a child, and it doesn't get them
No,
anywhere.
no, it doesn't get work, and it's not even their fault. It's just what happens in that argument, isn't it? When you're waiting for that pushback, and that's the argument or the shout back when they've
Mm,
already said it. And if you don't get it, as I said, it's just one sided, and you have to kind of take it away because there's nothing to fight it against.
yeah,
So it's very effective. I think that's one of the most effective tactics that I do. Obviously, you can't do it all the time, depending, and they will escalate it in public or whatever. There is things they
mm,
do, but 9 times out of 10, I said, if you don't take it as serious as it, society take it. So, like swearing, for prime example, people go off their nut about kids swearing, right? Kids know that. So kids will say that. And as I've done with SEND needs, swearing is one of the worst behaviours that parents face, isn't it? Because they can't help but not react. And then in public,
yes.
it gets worse because then they'll react and then they'll say it in public and then they're embarrassed about going in public with the kids because they're going to swear. Where realistically, what you should do is pay no attention.
Pay no attention to it.
Absolutely
Don't
no
rise to
attention.
it.
Yeah,
Don't say
nothing. So
anything.
they'll run their course.
Yep. You'll get judged. People will look at you.
Yeah.
But if you just carry on, I've done it before. Ted's had a meltdown in when we was going for a shopping centre because obviously it's sensory overload.
Mm.
Um, and he was crying and hitting, and I just carried on walking with him.
Mm.
And people are looking at me as if I'm mad. And then when we got to the end, when like the car and stuff, I gave him a cuddle and I said, "Are you okay now?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, thank you." But it's like
Yeah.
you ignore it
Yeah.
and then it goes away quicker.
Yeah, and they're not gonna. Another thing is they're not gonna learn their behaviour in the moment, and that's another thing you'll never get them to come across. You're never gonna get them to learn anything about their behaviour, why they're still mad. So there's no point even trying that. You shouldn't do this, or you're gonna get this stopped, or they're just gonna push back and go even further.
Yeah, they
What is
are. Yeah,
better is unloading and then coming back half an hour later when they are calm, and then having a
yeah,
conversation, and they'll actually register it. Then they're like, "Oh
yeah,
yeah, no, I was actually upset because of this," but they will not be able
yeah,
to do that at the time.
yeah. I The best piece of advice that my like Ted's play therapist ever gave to me was when he comes out of school, take a drink and a snack and don't ask him any questions. And I was like, okay, why? And she was like, because he's going to be overwhelmed from the day. So give him something to eat so sensory sensations. Give him a drink because he's probably going to be thirsty. Don't ask him any questions. Give him half an hour to calm down. And then after half an hour, you can ask him one question, maybe say, "How was your day?" or "Give me something good that you did today." And that will then open up the conversation. They're already overwhelmed. Why are you overwhelming them with how many questions? Like, how was your day? What did you play with? Like, who did you play
And you
with?
don't
What
get the
did you do?
answer. No one gets the answers to them questions, but that makes perfect sense. It's because you ask them when you pick them up. How was the day? What did you do today? Nothing, nothing. And it's like, why do I want to talk about it? I've just finished.
Yep. Because they're
Genius.
overloaded.
Yeah.
Drink, snack, no
I'm
questions.
going to try this today. I'm going to try this today, pick up and see if he talks to me about the day. Because he doesn't say
Yeah.
anything. He'll just be plain, simple, no, nothing happened today. Um, the kid could call something racist. I'll say to him, what happened today? Nothing. I go, really? Are you sure? Because the school rang me. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking of the
Because
time away.
they're so overwhelmed with everything that as soon as you pick them up and you ask them questions, their cup is already
Yeah,
overflowing. So you're making it worse. Just give them time to decompress, let the cup go down a little bit, and then ask them a question after that.
that's really good. That's great. I'm actually going to use this one. Yeah, that's
See
it.
how?
Yeah.
Let me know.
No, well, you know. But no, yeah, I think that was a great podcast again. Obviously conscious of time. But yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to keep working with you going forward. I think we'll showcase a lot of stuff that we're doing because I think
Yes.
it's fascinating to see. I didn't expect it to go this way as well and see them kids of mix. I've worked in care and stuff like that, so I've seen that they can get on in harmony and stuff, but they're normally severe ends. You know what I mean? Not like,
Yeah.
naturally, just to know like a kids from like the age of like literally 5 to like 11 are in the same group and they're mingling with each other and talking to each other and doing the same things. Like
Yeah.
insane, isn't it? Like it's mad, and it just shows you, doesn't it? If you sell it right and manage to do it right, like teach it right, like you do, you can get these kids to open up about a lot of things. Just
Yeah,
need
you
to
can.
change what you're trying to, not the textbook answer. Go a different route, and you get even better progress.
They need to trust you as much as you need to
Yes,
trust them.
yeah,
So,
that's it. But
yeah.
no, it's lovely speaking to you. And yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you very much. Where's the, I forgot pause button now. There it is.